So out of all the complications when it comes to watches, maybe outside of date complications, I think GMTs or being able to track 2 time zones has to be the most practical when it comes to day-to-day use. And when you're thinking about GMT watches, they can definitely be very expensive, thousands and thousands of dollars for a lot of them. But in this video, I want to look at GMT watches under $1,000. Let's get into it. And before we jump into this, I just apologize. My voice is definitely a little bit nasally. I am battling a bad head cold. All right, so first up, we have a watch here that basically inspired this video. So in my previous video, I looked at solar watches. If you've not seen that video, I will link to it in the description down below. But one of the watches mentioned there was the Citizen Nighthawk. And this watch comes in with a price point of $150 to $200. So probably the most affordable option on our list here today. Case size of 42 millimeters, powered by an EcoDrive B877 movement, and is water resistant up to 200 meters. Great thing about this watch, comes with a dual time GMT, and of course that EcoDrive technology being solar powered, really awesome for just the overall longevity of the piece and not having to worry about it. Now next up, we have a brand that I love mentioning. I think they're so underrated, Mido. And we're gonna be looking at the Mido Multifort GMT. So the Multifort was a line that was introduced back in the mid 20th century, and probably is Mido's most recognized line when you're thinking about the historical perspective of the brand. This watch specifically comes in between $750 to $1,000. There's a bunch of different dial variations here that you can choose from in terms of colors. Case size here, 42 millimeters, powered by an automatic Mido 1193 movement. That is an ETA 2893 tube-based movement, and these watches come with a water resistance of 100 meters. Now next up, we have a brand that I think probably delivers some of the best value for the money, and that's Christopher Ward. The watch specifically we're going to be looking at from them is the C60 Trident GMT 600. This watch comes in at a price point of $995 to $1,070. Price variation is going to come with the strap that you choose for this. Case size, you have both a 38 millimeter option and a 43 millimeter option. Movement here is an automatic ETA 2893-2, and then has an impressive water resistance rating of 600 meters. So Christopher Ward has been producing watches since 2004 and had a very unique approach to the marketplace, being an online only retailer. So the company produces all of their watches in Switzerland, designs all their watches in the UK, as that's where they are based. And I want to mention them more going forward just because I think they just present a lot of value for money. All right guys, what do you think of the choices so far? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon if you're new here. And on top of that, go to the website, check out the watch straps. If you're in the market for new watch straps, definitely check those out. I put those up against any other watch straps in that price range. But let's continue with the list. Now next up, we have the Alpina Alpiner GMT 4. And this is another very underrated, overlooked brand. So this particular model certainly is a little bit ambitious to put in this range of watches because it can be found under $1,000, but definitely retails above that. So this watch comes with a price point of $850 to $2,000. Case size of 44 millimeters, powered by an Alpina caliber AL550. That's a Salida-based movement and is water resistant up to 100 meters. So when looking at this watch, it was released back in 2014, and what the 4 indicates are 4 main properties, or really just goals in terms of just the structuring and manufacturing of the piece that Alpina wanted to make sure that they met. Those 4 are anti-magnetic properties, shock resistance, water resistance, and a case made of stainless steel. This watch is ISO certified when it comes to anti-magnetism with an ISO 764, and then also with a certification with the ISO 1413 for anti-shock. So a really great watch for the money, and if you can find it for under $1,000, certainly would recommend it. Now for our next watch, it falls underneath the Orient umbrella with the Orient Star line. And when I think about the Orient Star line, I really find a lot of parallels with that and then say like the Seiko Star line. A little bit better quality than a lot of their entry-level pieces and really good value for money. The particular Orient Star we're looking at is the Seeker GMT. So this watch comes with a price point between $650 and $1,100. Case size of 41.5 millimeters, powered by an automatic Orient 40P51. That's an in-house movement and is water resistant up to 100 meters. All right, I don't want to do a deep dive into this watch because I always get frustrated mentioning this brand because they have a ridiculous pre-order system that I'm kind of sick of, but I do love the look of their watches, and that is Halios. Halios Seaforth GMT, an awesome watch. If you can find it anywhere under $1,000, it's probably a long shot, but an awesome looking watch. They were making these pre-order for around $900, but I imagine that they're gonna be pretty hard to find at this point, but at least wanted to give it a mention because I do love those watches. So now for our next watch, it descends from a line of probably one of the most overlooked icons, and that is the Glycine Airman. So back in 1953, the Glycine Airman was released, and it actually predated the the Rolex GMT Master by 1 year when it was released in 1954, really for Pan Am pilots, for their pilots to be able to track 2 time zones. When Glycine came out with their Airman, it didn't have a GMT hand, but it was the first watch to be able to track 2 different time zones at once. And that, of course, is incredibly iconic. And despite it not having a GMT hand, Glycine has later introduced many of their watches with that actual functionality. And that's what we're gonna be looking at today. The particular model is the Glycine Airman GMT 18. So this watch comes in with a price point of $450 to $1,000. I see a lot of fluctuation with Glycine watches. I think that's partially because Invicta purchased the brand. And I don't know what that's doing with their price points, but they're very inconsistent. Not a great sign, but I still think this is a really good watch to look at. When we're looking at a case size here, 39 millimeters, powered by an automatic GL293. That movement is a ETA 2893-2 base movement, and then is water resistant up to 200 meters. All right, so for this next brand, I have to admit, guys, I was a little conflicted on including this brand, partially just because there's a lot of homage watches with this brand. I think a lot of their designs are taken from other brands, obviously, and they don't really have many original designs, but I have been able to handle their watches before. I have to say, I think from the build quality standpoint, for the money, they do a really good job. And the brand I'm referring to is Steinhart. So on top of all that considered, this was also one of the most requested watches or line of watches in the Facebook group when I requested GMTs under $1,000. So this particular Steinhart we're gonna be looking at is the Steinhardt Ocean One Vintage Dual Time Premium. So this watch comes in with a price point of $850 to $1,000, case size of 42 millimeters, powered by an automatic ETA 2893-2, and then is water resistant up to 300 meters. This particular model wasn't as requested as much, but this line was very requested when I mentioned a question in the Facebook group. And I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on Steinhart in general. The reason why I wanted to pick this particular Steinhart is because it resembles, of course, the legendary and somewhat mythical albino dialed 6542 GMT Master. And with that white dial, I think it does look pretty cool. But again, leave comments down below about Steinhart. I think I probably should make an updated video about homage watches and what my opinion are of them. All right, now finally we have the Hamilton Jazzmaster GMT Auto. And when I always mention Hamilton, I always say how expansive all their lines of watches are. And outside of maybe the khaki field line, I think the Jazzmaster line might have the most variety out of anything that Hamilton offers. And I think this watch is a great representation of that. So this Hamilton Jazzmaster GMT Auto comes in with a price point of $700 to $1,200, case size of 42 millimeters, powered by an ETA caliber 2893-2, and then is water resistant up to 50 meters. All right, guys, so those are my picks here today. If you want me to continue this series of GMT watches, give this video a thumbs up. That's a great indicator for me. Also subscribe, hit the bell icon, head over to the website, pick out a watch strap, put those watch straps up against any other straps in that price range. So definitely go over there, purchase those. That'd be a big help for the channel. Go follow me on Instagram. That's where we announce the winners of our watch giveaway. Fill out the watch giveaway form down below. We give away a watch every single month. And then if you want to support this new generation of watch lovers that we're trying to foster up here on this channel, go to our Patreon. Any support there would be greatly appreciated. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.